doing layups. They hit the wall at least once
Because
a game.
there's like a door, so that
For
the area
two.
around the door
Mats are-
makes.
15 for each school, so
Mats are
15.
expensive. I know wrestling mats, 20 years ago, I was in the process of buying wrestling mats for Durfee High School, and they were, I think, $9,000 for just one mat to wrestle in. I mean, they're outrageous, so,
Yeah, they're
If we need them, we need them.
yeah, and that's an absolute safety hazard, so.
Okay, all those in favor of removing the hold off computers and, if available, adding the 16.6 for more netbooks if we can't get the mats? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Sorry, Karen. Printer copy scanner. Did you hold this one?
I put a hold on that because I wasn't sure where the two machines were going. One, I
This is
assume,
3.
in an administration
Each media
office
center.
of
No,
She said each
libraries.
media
Three libraries.
libraries.
As much as I'd like to do the Macumber Library, if
And-
we put
and
one
we-
in there, that would be it.
And these are replacing existing printer copier scanners, or
No, it
what's?
would be in addition to, but a higher end machine to hopefully extend the life of my printers.
Is there any need for printer copier scanners in administration or in the maintenance office, or do we need the two in the media centers?
It's one one in each media center of the 3 schools.
Right, so the equipment that's there now is going where?
It's not replacing any,
It's in addition.
it's in addition to.
So, okay.
But it's a networkable printer, so if somebody from administration or maintenance or whatever needs to do a
Print, they can
PDF,
print there.
they'll be able to type in their code just like everybody else. It's just more because it's centrally located and there's somebody in there that can help with.
So there is equipment in those media centers now that are doing the job?
That's the little printer there, and there's another little printer there. Now, that being said, should one of these printers die, would I run out and replace it? Probably not. You know,
And there's no other areas of the building that need those printers?
no, but it
Just
should
stretch.
one, if that would come to be, I would probably move it. We do that all the time.
Yeah,
We
I
move
just-
equipment around.
That was
Yeah.
the only question I had on that. So this,
Any other discussion on that? Is there a motion on the printer copy scanner?
So moved.
And
Second.
a second? Any discussion? All those in favor of removing the hold
Aye.
and opposed? Okay, on to the tennis courts. Eric, I think you held this one.
I just need my memory refreshed.
Jogged.
The Snyder Foundation, at one time, was controlling the courts. We took them back, they controlled. Where are we at on whose courts those are?
Well, on paper, they belong to the schools. They have been taking care of them. They pay for the electric because that happens outside of the hours that we use them. We say, it's kind of like the baseball, where we own the fields, but they use the lights and they take care of the lights. And they add some value to doing some of the work on the fields, but we do most of the work on the field and we buy the materials that they use. I'd like to get to that level, and this is the issue that's holding them back, because if they spend this kind of money on maintaining the surface of the courts, then they're not going to have money to do the other things they do. So I said, it's one thing for the schools to take care of the courts, but then if you're going to use the courts, then you have to be like the other, soccer and baseball and everybody else. You have to participate in giving back to us, and we will sort of give you a season like we do basketball and baseball and even soccer, and then they would pay into us, and anything they do after hours, that's extra money, they would have to pay for it as well.
But anyone in the town can go to those courts any time at night and play. That's where we're running into a little bit of a...
And this is where I said to them, if we go in this route, you're going to have to establish some way to police this in the after hours, just like we police soccer. Who polices soccer? The soccer people go, hey, it's our field, we paid for it, it's our time now. If you want to do this, you have to go in and get your own time. Now, they can do it by, having cards printed out that you show them at the door. If somebody comes and says, hey, are you card holder?
That's a can of worms. Now, can I
It
just
is
follow
a-
up with one more
One
thing?
follow-up, yeah.
You know,
That
still-
$20,000, I just had my driveway just resurfaced. I can't see that cost only $20,000 to resurface that. That's a huge area.
We got 3
That's gonna
quotes.
be, you got quotes on resurfacing and repainting, new nets, the whole 9 yards on it, or is
Not
that
the
no
nets.
nets?
Not the nets.
New
It's just-
poles?
It's just
Because a lot of
this-
the cranks, I've played there, the cranks don't work. Are we doing soup to nuts for that 20,000,
just
or
for
is
the
it
At
just?
at this point,
just
it's
surface.
just the surfacing.
And they
which
can
is-
maintain nets, cranks, and,
This is the negotiation.
Mike?
that's a can of
Well,
worms.
This particular item, and I agree with that hold, is that it's addressing, we mentioned the soccer fields. We had multiple meetings and policy committee to come up with our policy on facilities use. Tennis courts were exempt from that discussion, okay, for the sole reason that the foundation is doing a great job managing the facilities. Now we're at a point where we're discussing our taking on some responsibilities, possibly having some charges that we're going to have to address as a field charge. My suggestion is that we pass over this at this time. This bid's out there in the works, there's still some other needs, and together as a subcommittee, whether it be the policy facilities use subcommittee, where I would see it fitting into an addition to the facilities use, in order to put our hands around it.
My only concern is we won't have this money next year to do this. Maybe next spring if we get back to this kind of same situation. But that's a whole year that these courts, especially for this summer, won't be.
I don't see any cracks in
And my concern is that it's come up here, but that we previously had an ongoing relationship which enabled them to be exempt from charges, and they were taking care of it. If they want us to resurface it, now we have the question,
Charging.
are we doing it right? I'm not a tennis player, okay? I'm a hockey player. I don't know what time the Bruins on tonight. But my concern is we now resurface it based on our limitations of lowest bidder, and we don't have the right surface on it. I think we want input from this Snyder Foundation that has done a fabulous job in enhancing tennis facilities, and we celebrated the victory of the tennis team last night. I would strongly urge the school committee to hold off on this expenditure until we find out more about it.
Tony?
From what I understand, they've spent over $125,000 on that facility. I mean, they've been maintaining it all along.
And they're basically saying it's not our facility, and they would like to, they feel that they're going into areas they shouldn't be going into. For example, people are saying, I want to give lessons there this summer. Now it's a for-profit person going into a public facility, using it, and nobody has any control over it, because we don't control it, they don't control it. They just had
they're
a.
just trying to establish that relationship.
But again, my point is, they were the ones who approached us, and they have done this for 2 years in a row to resurface the courts. And we said we didn't have any money to do it at that time. I said I would put it into and I did. It was part of the capital improvement plan, but it was out in the future. Now we have this here. They were going to do it. They have done the research. They are the experts. They were the ones who looked at the 3 quotes. They were the ones who said to me, hey, this is the company that actually put in the courts, and they're still coming in cheapest. This is the one you should go with. I told them I'd hold off till we talked here, because again, it's going to be one of those. If we don't have some kind of a relationship with them, then, who's going to police who's in there during the summer? Because, like you said, anybody can just walk in and just have their own public, their own private industry at public's expense.
Jim?
We had, as Mr. Sullivan mentioned, we had a tennis team finish the season yesterday. Were there any issues with any of the competition this season on the surface?
I have not asked that question, so I don't know.
All right, it just seems to me like they were playing on it yesterday, and doesn't necessarily seem like a hot button issue.
I haven't been on the courts in a very long time.
I haven't noticed
so-
any cracks. I mean, I played last year quite a few times. This year I haven't been out there yet, but driving by the middle school 8th grade dance/prom last week and going there for basketball and stuff, softball, I haven't noticed anything glaring to say, ooh,
Yeah,
these courts are terrible.
And I know.
Grass growing through or anything like that. It may be just a cosmetic, I don't know.
I just want to finish up what I was saying. I know private people who do play there recreationally, and they're always raving about the experience, not criticizing anything that's going on there. I think I would support Mr. Sullivan in wanting to pass on this.
Mike?
No, go ahead, Michael.
And again, as we've had this discussion, it's news to me that the group that supported this facility is looking for us to participate. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. So they did have some input in the analysis of what we do, and the Snyder Foundation is encouraging us to spend money on the courts. Is that my understanding?
They're saying they're your courts.
But then we're gonna have to
But
charge
are they
them.
encouraging us that they need upgrade now?
Yes.
That's what okay.
They actually came to me last year, and at a point in time, we didn't have any funding. I mean, we didn't even have the capital plan.
Well, and then I think that's something we should look at the future, and also as our facilities use, if someone's giving lessons on there and
No.
a policy, but I don't think tonight we can
This
do
wouldn't
that.
be done, this is another one of those things. This will not be done by the end of the school year, so it would be done,
27, 28, 29.
purchase, okay.
I mean, I haven't pulled the trigger because we haven't done this today.
Okay, is there a motion on the tennis courts?
Can one more piece of discussion? Mr. Vivera said, whispered in my ear that, and it sounds vaguely familiar, is this an agenda topic next week?
Which?
The tennis courts on who's taking ownership of them? It does sound vaguely familiar that we've talked about this, and it's upcoming soon, that we're going to be talking about the tennis courts.
It was I was going to bring it up last week, but when they moved the whole
I know
budget
we've
thing
heard,
to now,
so
we moved it
if
to
we,
now.
this may be something we want to hold, because if we're going to speak about it and get more information next week, it still puts us in that time frame of,
I'd like to
if it's
look
already
at-
scheduled for 27,
Yeah, I'd like to-
29,
I'd like to.
I'll invite them to come in and talk about it.
that would be nice.
Okay, all right,
And
so,
with that, we can hold that, because as noted, I see it approved here. Apparently, we have a contract in place. We'll hold that till next 22nd.
Well, I was going to use the monies left over in maintenance to do maintenance, and this is maintenance,
okay. So is there a motion to?
but I held on to it.
Is there a motion to continue to hold this line item until next meeting, and,
So moved.
Second.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? CAD Lab,
I think I might have put the hold on it. Quick question was, is that CAD in terms of a CAD engineering
Yes.
software lab?
Yes.
And that's part of our curriculum, we have CAD?
It is.
It is. What
Okay.
it really is switching from wireless to hardwired. The wireless is just causing trouble with the size of the CAD file.
Okay, and these students are using it
Yeah.
as things that I know nothing about.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, they-
great, I think
they
it's a
have-
quick
they have a-
discussion.
They have a few
Good investment.
design programs.
I'll agree with the good investment. Now that I'm on a new cable